Hi, old beaver! Away!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to KritzKast. It is another game from Season 27 of ETF2L Premiership Highlander. It is now week 4. We're already nearing the end of the regular season, just 2 more rounds to go. And we have 2 teams here who are fighting tooth and nail for those points to try and solidify themselves a place in the top 3. Those are the playoff places. Absolutely. We'll have to see what actually happens. If you're just joining us, it is week 4 of season 27, ETF2L Premiership Highlander. There are 2 more rounds to go, and both of these teams are going to be fighting for those points to try and get into the playoffs. It is very, very tight in that middle pack. We have Twice in the blue. They're currently sitting in 3rd place, sort of higher ranked of the 2 at the moment. GABAGOOL in the red, they'll be defending. They're currently in 5th place, but a win here could completely change that and put them in 2nd place. It is that tight. So Twice will be setting a time. GABAGOOL will be trying to beat that time. It is a best of 3, so we could potentially see 3 rounds here. Do you have any early predictions here, Gamma? Like, based on the players and what we've seen so far from this season, do you think either of these teams has a bit of an edge?
I mean, that's the thing, when you look at the table, when it's so close, it is difficult to give one team an edge over the other. I've been keeping an eye on some scrim results there from both teams, and I've been a little bit impressed with some of the results that Twice have been pulling out in some scrims. I want to see what they're going to do here to break this hold, because, as I say, if you get that momentum early, this map can be over very quickly.
Absolutely, it's all about getting that snowball going and using that momentum between the points as well. If you win a point, it's not so much to just sit on your laurels. You have to keep going. You have to keep that momentum up. And we already see Wiethoofd trying to get some early shots down, giving some info to his team. Buko is up on the far side. He's going to be a bit of a danger. In comes the Sacks, Sammy, Honjo both going down, not really achieving too much. No force coming out of Assassin, no casualties either. Not really any damage of note. Reflex moving his sentry back from that aggressive point, which kind of denies the Sacks early on, and now it's there to watch the tunnel. You can take a look, BB and Delt already pushed that cut all the way to the end of the tunnel, so maybe Twice now ready to start executing some plans here.
Yeah, I really like that extra card pressure early on, because if you can get that early sack off and if you can get something out of it, it means you're in prime position to start rolling all the way through 2nd and maybe into 3rd early. But this 2nd sack also not really working out, a little bit, I suppose, discoordinated in terms of timing, meant that the sentry and the pyro could kind of focus one and then the other. It makes it so much harder to get anything out of it. And now it looks like that Twice have had enough of this now. They've actually got their medic out of spawn. Casper is in the tunnel. They're looking to try and get some pressure onto the sentry. They've used the super so early. They're not able to really get much out of it. They've got the sentry. There's actually battalions here as well with the Uber charge to try and clean up some kills. They're going to try and get into the tunnel to clear some people here. But the Brass Beast, he's doing so much damage to those shiny people that are taking no damage. And it looks like they're going to repel this push a little bit, but they've actually taken so many casualties. BB getting some pressure onto the heavy there. Assassin Plus now with just a spy as Guardian. He's going to die. And that hold actually just completely collapsed out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was unfortunate there. Because the Uber came in very early on, like you said, from Twice. They came in from the tunnel, and normally that's an awful push to make because you don't really get ground, but they killed Reflex straight away. Like, he was the first casualty, and once that engineer's down, that sentry is easily spawned, but he's gone down again there, and that sentry is not going to survive. It's level 2, it's actually level 3, but there's no engineer to protect it, so it's going to be easily taken down. Actually takes down Honjo as he tries to jump that forward spawn. But that's the thing, if you're losing the wrong players at the wrong time, and now with no engineer, no sentry, no sniper, and no soldier, those are players who are controlling key channels on this 3rd point, which is notoriously difficult to push. But Wiethoofd is going to get the backstab onto Casper. That is a huge pick. Med down for Twice now, and maybe a bit of a reprieve here for GABAGOOL to get some sort of setup on this crucial 3rd point.
That's absolutely crucial. This is one of the reasons why the kind of 2nd hold has gone completely out of fashion in the last year or 2. Because if you can't get a good 3rd hold up, your time on this map is not going to be good. Losing your sniper on 2nd and your engineer and the level 3 sentry They should have lost this third hole, but that is an absolutely clutch pick from Yurkas. It's going to be a little bit slow now with a full Uber disadvantage for Twice. They're going to have to try and work some key picks here. Yurkas making a nuisance of himself in the background, kind of buying some more time, but I'd expect this clock to start wearing down ever so slightly. That's a nice pick from Broken onto the Danger Man BB there. Every little bleeding pick like that just kills your momentum, and you're still waiting for Uber anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just that kind of thing where you're hoping to get some picks. Axio does get the kill onto Broken. Vane also going down, and look at this pressure from Odin. Just walks forward with that Brass Beast, and the force comes out. Casper did die though to the Uber. Vlad just walks forward with that flamethrower, just takes him down, and no medic now for Twice. So some opening picks, some good pressure, but if you lose your medic, there's really no point, because Assassin now is sat there happy with his team surrounding him, 30% advantage in the bank, and yeah, it's just a reset for GABAGOOL. So that's something you always have to remember on maps like this. Not so much on maps like Vigil, which have been more popular these days. Badwater, you can get chased pretty easily.
It's very linear, and it does make it very easy. Like, obviously you can't rocket jump over the house or anything, but once you get past that house, it's very easy to chase kills. I think Casper ran into that enemy of positioning, solid barriers that you can't just run through. But that's what happens when you get a little bit too close. He was so close to the Uber charge as well, and that aggressive positioning, could have worked out. If he just had waited another second or two, he might have gotten that Uber and they could have gone in on it. But it's a little bit difficult to get through this boiler side. Broken was dead, but now he's fully alive, and it's going to be very, very difficult to fight through that sniper. And indeed, yes, he gets that kill on Buko.
Yeah, that's huge. Now there's no sniper worries for the defending team. And look at this, Vlad is just air blasting them away. You can't come through that area unless you've got something. But oh no! Assassins get juggled off the side and ends up cratering after that Uber. Casper is extremely weak, 30 HP, is living for the time being, but that is kind of a crucial medic pick. Oh, the rock is going to Yak. Yak is 4 HP after that sack coming in there from Honjo. Almost gets the demo down. And we're seeing picks come in from Twice, but then just not really getting themselves into a position. Actually, Reflex gets sniped by Buko, and then the sentry goes down. We're seeing a bit of is this a battalion or a contra? It is a battalion from Taram. Just trying to give his team a little bit more survivability, getting some pressure. Big jump in from Honjo. He's trying to get some pressure on the high ground. Poi is there. Poi will go down as well. And it does look like, despite Casper going down to Yurkas, again, Gamma getting those med picks, it's kind of in vain here, and it's just going to be Twice getting the cap. But 5:49, they've managed to get a decent amount of time on that third point.
That battalion's actually bought them, I'd say, an extra 30 seconds or so, just simply by being an absolute nuisance on the card. They couldn't really push it at all. And the outcome of that chaos, as you say, is Casper going down, and now, again, it's just going to slow the game down. Going to have to wait for that Uber charge, although it doesn't look like they're waiting. Actually, they don't really want to let Reflex get a level 3 sentry up here, and indeed it's going to go down through the Wrangler. It's a lot of pressure, but Odin is so weak, and actually that's a dead Sammy and a dead Odin. And now you see Casper getting chased by all the King's horses and all the King's men, and that is, a hopeful aggressive push, and it almost sort of got something, but if your medic dies for it, it's not worth it.
No, it's a classic case of biting off more than you can chew, right? They go forward, they have this space, they've got the bit between their teeth, they're thinking, yeah, let's go, let's keep this momentum up. Like you said, it's so crucial on a map like this. However, again, if the defending medic has that Uber, they could just use Uber into you in a semi-aggressive manner. It wasn't even having to be a bit of a chase there. And Broken at the moment seems to be getting the better of Buko, at least on this SVS. Currently just getting aggressive, getting the picks, and allowing that freedom, and the rest of his team is now allowed to peek because the sniper goes down. BB goes down there. Yakas on a 3 kill streak with that revolver, getting a lot of value behind enemy lines. And you know what, like I said, they managed to get a decent amount of time. If Twice don't push within the next couple of pushes, they probably won't be too happy with the overall time on this map. And GABAGOOL are probably the ones currently thinking, we're feeling good, as Broken hits 2 headshots in a row, one on Buko, but the more important one is the one on Casper. Medic down again for Twice, and GABAGOOL just in control at the moment.
Broken is activated, man. He's activated with the bombs coming onto Assassin. got levitated against the wall, but there was no more ammo to do anything with it. This has been Casper going down about 3 times in a row without getting Uber here, and actually Jurkis is on him again, trying to gun him down. He's so weak, but the defense, the ultimate pocket class of the sniper is there to protect him. If he'd gone down again there, that would have been ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. An assassin with full Uber ad, yet again, it's more time being bought, and that's the thing with Badwater, it can get so slow, and even if your time is slow, you can actually do the same thing to the enemy team.
Yeah, exactly. And your assassin just, there was a soldier coming in actually, and here comes the force now. But you know what? There's 2 players left alive. One of them is Buko, and one of them is Rambasaur. I'm trying to find out where Casper is. I think Casper is safe for the time being, so there is going to be an Uber advantage. But yeah, I was going to say Assassin's done really well so far, not forcing for anything that isn't going to kill. You know, sometimes you see a soldier jump in, they hit one rocket, and the medic's like, oh, I'm going to force. But doesn't force unnecessarily. In that case, it took about 6 players to get the force. In comes Axie, trying to go for the stab, doesn't get it, but it is going to be a full Uber ad hit push here from Twice. They come in from main. Sammy going to get some of that, but the bulk of Uber going onto Odin, who's now switched onto the Tomislav, trying to clean up here, but just only casualty is Reflex. The Engineer and Sentry go down, but the combat classes for GABAGOOL start to flood in once that Uber is over, and they manage to pick up 4, and it's just not working out for them right now. Twice, they're getting the space, they're getting these ads, but it's not being as efficient as potentially it should be.
That Uber, it was just so unfortunate. Odin was so weak before they even pushed in, and him coming in as fire support, he needed so many flashes of the Uber charge. Sammy could only really get the Engie and the Sentry with the Uber, and couldn't really get any frags with it. And when you're stuck in that choke point, and the enemies can collapse on you like they're now doing with the Uber charge, they're going to get Casper once again. Nice aggressive Uber from Yak and Assassin there, catching them out in, you guessed it, a choke point with a demo man. It's just falling apart at the seams at the moment.
Yeah, it's exactly what we were saying earlier, right? The Uber is not in the hands of Twice. They come in, they're aggressive, and I can already hear in my head what Yak was saying to his team. They were hiding at the math room. Let's just use Uber. Can you see the medic? Yes, let's go. And just Buko went in. But huge snipe from Buko. That angle.
That was disgusting. That was actually disgusting. But I can't believe it's not seen either. Like, that window is... had to peek that golden scope out a little bit too far out that window, and it wasn't spotted. Well, it just wasn't spotted. They're down a few gamers though Twice here, and they're still trying to get through. They're getting the important kills though. They're getting Yak, for example, but they have lost Sammy. Odin and Casper are just saying, screw it, we're just going in, guys, because they're all actually dead. They're all just dead. We're going to get some cap time here. There may be enough time for 1 or 2 spawns, but I think this may be it, CeeJaey.
Yeah, it looks like there's not going to be any spawns. It's Vani and Assassin and Honjo is there holding the door. 10:49 though. Twice will definitely not be happy with that time. I always say if you're hitting the double figures in terms of minutes on a payload map, you're probably not going to be too chuffed with the result. Twice would definitely have been thinking after the first couple of points, they had a really good first push. I wasn't a fan of the tunnel push, but they managed to make it work. Like, they came in, they killed Reflex early, they killed the Sentry, then the counter Uber came in, and it's almost like they baited them into the tunnel, and Odin was there, and BB was there for just the cleanup. And it's almost like if that was their strategy, it worked out really well. So the first 2 points go down, but the third and the fourth, they just struggled, and they were losing their medic a lot. They were holding aggressively when they had Uber disad, so that's why their medic was getting caught. I don't know whether it's miscommunication, or they're not counting Ubers, or they're not respecting the Ubers. But if you've played against the likes of Yak before, he's not gonna let those disads go away unpunished. So we'll have to see what GABAGOOL can do on the blue now. But Twice definitely the ones feeling the pressure in this first round.
Absolutely, absolutely. It comes down to momentum, exactly as you were saying before the game. They're absolutely rolling it, and then Jurkis manages to get that kill. That one important kill on Casper, and it all just fell apart at the seams from that point on. There are crit stickies everywhere. We'll see if they get anyone important. They've been dead, and they haven't. I'm not a fan of that myself, personally. But
true. You know what? It's rare to find someone who feels the same, because I always think there's not really much point, because you may get one kill and it's like an NG or a scout, and you're like, great, like the cart's been slowed for 5 seconds, Yeah, I don't think it's worth the hassle. The first wave of sacks came in, and Casper took a little bit of damage, managed to jump up onto that little ledge, that little rock there that you can stand on, and was safe. So nothing really to write home about just yet, but I'm expecting some more sacks coming in momentarily.
Here comes Vlad, actually, he's leading it. Yak coming in, Sticky's on to everyone, but didn't really get to detonate them before he could. They have managed to pick off Sammy, though. That's a big kill, getting the demo man there. He's in the respawn queue for a long, long time, and there is no teleporter entrance at spawn.
Yeah, no teleport entrance. You actually see the Eureka effects being used there by Rambasaur, so he's going to go to spawn and get a teleporter entrance up, I think. Yeah, so that maybe to get those respawns, but it is a soldier and a demo. There's no spam right now, but they are going to be able to roll out a bit quicker. And BB there with the kill onto Yak. That is absolutely huge. Demo down, and that's going to be the cancellation of any push that that GABAGOOL had planned that you do not want to push at this point, especially without your demo, but pretty much any point without your demo. And that's given a chance for Honjo to get back in action. Sammy is back in position. Yak now comes in for another sack, waiting for those respawns, but in comes Tiram as well. Vlad is there, a lot of damage coming down, but that dispenser armor gamma is just proving too strong.
Dispenser armor needs to get nerfed sometime tomorrow. Oh my god, just ate so much damage on Casper. Again though, that sack wave a little bit just not together. Going in first with your demo man and then everyone else afterwards. If you have all explosive classes there, maybe that dispenser goes down. And this Uber's actually been used so early, and there's Delt pressing that wonderful mouse 2 key, denying them all. Tiram is trying to get forward to get some space here. They're getting some damage onto the sentry, but not really getting anything, and in fact they are all quite weak themselves. And Yak now trying to take some space on Hill, but they're actually just going to have to regroup here altogether.
Yeah, let's not forget, they have 10 minutes for the entire map, but there is a round timer as well. And GABAGOOL have just over 2 minutes to push this first point. And it wouldn't be the first time in a Prem game where we've seen a team hard hold the first point after struggling to push the entire map. As it is at the moment, GABAGOOL do have to push this, although Delt and Honjo both going down. BB is extraordinarily weak, and with no spam and no pyro, we're seeing Yak and Reflex. They're trying to push through the tunnel right now. BB drops down just to scare them off a little bit maybe, but with this pressure from tunnel, the sentry has been moved by Rambo. Buko's gone down to broken. Some things are happening, and actually the Uber is used. They drop down onto the tunnel to force them to use early. Assassin's there. Honjo comes in with a bit of a flanking maneuver. He's gone to Yak and Assassin. They do get away with their lives, but it is absolutely calamitous for Twice. They've lost Rambo, they've lost Casper, and that's surely going to be a retreat all the way back to 30. But no, BB! BB gets Assassin!
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. What unreal chaos right at the end there. If there's one thing you want as a spy, is you want to be in the choke point just as the enemy team are retreating with their backs to you. And he manages to get the medic with that, does Yurkas, but man, in the ensuing chaos, Ubers are indeed equalising. In fact, a slight ad for Casper as well. But they have managed to buy a huge amount of time, and that's exactly what Twice would have needed.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, looking at 7 minutes now, and you'd be saying, hey, actually, holding the third and fourth points, we can do that. Actually, with the 2k there, gets reflex and broken in quick succession, and that's not really going to do much. It's going to slow down the cart. It's going to allow Buko a little bit more space without worrying about being counter sniped, but it's all going to be about the setup on third here. Buko talking about freedom gamma. He gets Assassin with the headshot there, and Twice are going to be feeling very, very happy with the current situation.
Do you see this sentry by Rambasaur? I absolutely love it. It's so cheeky. Absolutely designed to counter any aggression that would come out in the wake of them losing a lot of time there on the first 2 points. And it did catch a wild Tiram, I believe. So super big brain gaming by Rambasaur. He's been around the block a little bit. He knows all the spots at this point. But yeah, that kill on Assassin again absolutely murders any momentum that they had. And here comes some sacks onto a sentry gun. It's a bit of an interesting one. Rambasaur almost dies to it, but nobody really important goes down on the side of Twice.
Yeah, I mean, they lose Axio. Odin's currently on an 8k. Running that Brass Beast still, just kind of being like a second sentry, almost. But I like this aggressive hold. I do like the fact that, you can be aggressive on this map, on this point, in the way that they are doing. It doesn't allow the sniper to peek. We're seeing GABAGOOL trying to get some space in through different angles, but it's just not being allowed. And they do have that tower to back up and retreat to. Taram, though, trying to get some spam onto Sammy. Does do it. Casper taking a little bit of spam as well, but nothing really to worry, because anyone who comes around that corner is going to get a face full of rockets, stickies, or brass beast bullets. Buko with the 3k now takes down Broker, and Honja and Delpo go down. The Uber is forced, and that's 5 down for twice now. Somehow, just through a sack wave, Casper's actually getting caught out. Taram and Yaka behind. They're going to be bullying Sammy. Yakas is there for the cleanup. And what happened there, Gamma?
That was it was a bit of a weird Uber trade, to be honest with you. What Vlad actually ended up doing was he managed to get behind the red Uber and just air blasted them back into his team while the rest of the team were dying. So they could just clean them up one by one. There was no escape. Mouse too powerful, man. And again now they're through the choke point here already. They're just trying to stop any sort of hold from being built or getting comfortable. There's still a teleporter exit behind though. But Delp is taken, and Delp is onto the medic and gets the assassin kill with the reflex, CeeJaey.
That is unbelievable. That is a highlight for the ages. Taking the telly behind the team to get a replay kill. We're seeing the sack waves come in now. Vanu is on Casper, is going to land that last shot. Still alive, actually. Finally goes down to a rescue ranger shot. Buka was 1 HP, almost got the 2 there. But equalizing things up, Assassin will have an Uber advantage. Now Casper's still in the respawn queue for another 5 seconds or so. So it's going to be about a 25-30% advantage for GABAGOOL. And you know what? It's not something we saw very often in the previous sort of phase, right? Because twice never really had an Uber advantage going into last. They were always at a disad, or they managed to get a massive pick. So we'll have to see whether GABAGOOL are going to be able to execute this any better than their opponents were. 3:35 to go. Already aggression coming in. Odin, Del all going down. It's only 80% for Assassin. They're giving way too much respect here. And GABAGOOL are trying to walk in, but maybe they're a bit of more they can chew. They're 4 down. There's going to be Assassin getting headshot by Buko. Casper is safe and sound towards the lower spawn, but that does mean that Uber advantage has been wiped out of the equation, and twice now can reset back to their aggressive hold.
That was absolutely bizarre. Yak just got he just walked through the choke point, got a huge amount of damage, died for it, but his team were like, yeah, we'll walk in on that. Managed to get like all the important picks, but they disrespect the sniper. It stayed far too long. Sacks coming in here. Casper barely even sneezed on. So he once again has a full ad for himself on the defense. And finally Twice gets to have an advantage for once.
Yeah, they're getting really aggressive with it. Yeah, they want to take this next corner. This is the really, really aggro corner. And look, there we go. Buko being afforded that space gets Yak down. And that's something you can do. Look, he's getting some headshots. In comes Yakas, maybe to try and get something done. He headshots him as well. No, that is filthy. That is filthy. And look at this sentry. Rambo has got the sentry on the roof forward. And that's going to catch out at least 1 or 2 people. They know it's there now. And surely Rambo is going to just pull that back when it's time. Oh no, it actually gets destroyed. We'll have to see whether GABAGOOL will take advantage of that. Sticky traps will get down Poi. In comes the sacks again, and it will force Casper. Actually, a little flash of the Uber there going onto Yakas, but Assassin went down to a backstab. I think that might have been a drop there, Gamma. I'm not sure. Did you catch it?
That was indeed a drop. That was indeed a drop from Assassin there. It was a bit odd. Like they kind of went in for what looked like a sack wave when he was on 94%, and he just about got it, only to drop basically immediately. Again, things just slightly going the way of GABAGOOL, and then everything just kind of falls apart at the seams. Both the teams on attack kind of struggling here, both teams on defense doing a huge amount. And remember what we were saying about 10 double figures being a bad time? It's only a minute 20 left on the clock here for Twice to hold.
Absolutely, and you know what? They have an Uber advantage. They have an aggressive hold. That car is not even halfway down the ramp, and you know, if you think in that situation, I applaud the aggression from GABAGOOL. They wanted to go in before the Uber was ready, maybe get some damage, take some space, and then use the Uber, but a big play coming from Axio to get it. Buka's on a 6k right now. Buka has been popping off on the defense, takes down Tiram. Yak just on the respawn. They're just kind of cycling through the spam classes. He takes down Broken as well. Less than a minute to go. They're just about to get an Uber here, GABAGOOL, but they don't have much time to play with. They're going to use it very, very early on, hoping for a drop. They can't. Casper does pop the Uber. Vlad goes down. Odin there is going to take down Poi. Vlad And Yerkas all going down as well. Odin does get cleaned up, but it's all about pushing. They have to go through this choke now, but Buko is still killing Gamma. He's on an 8k.
He's on an 8k. There's nobody anywhere near him either. That's what they're, they haven't really managed to get control over map room to try and get on him either. So anytime he backs up to this position, it's so difficult for them to kill him. But they are starting to get kills here. They've walked through. They're starting to get a cap on it. But there's a level 3 sentry they haven't dealt with. 10 seconds on the clock here, CeeJaey. Trying to get the point captured, but there's no way. 6 seconds. A sentry still there. A second sentry with Odin in the window. And it's all falling apart. What a defense for Twice.
I think there was about 4 Wrangler kills from Rambasaur there. Just wrangling his little heart out and flexing those biceps. Just making sure anyone who got towards that cart was getting wrangled to death. And honestly, yeah, I mean, like I said, double figures, not normally a time you want to be going on the push, but Twice showing that their defense can be very, very solid. And you know what? It's funny, Buko's at the bottom of the scoreboard in terms of points. We don't really check logs for individual rounds. We'll see combined at the end of the game, but Buko really popped off there.
What are they going to change now, Gabagool, on this next map as we head into it?
Yeah, onto the second now. What can they change? That's the big question, because if you don't change anything, you're going to run into the same problems before, right? And I think Twice will definitely be learning from the mistakes they made on their attack. The benefit for Gabagool is that they're playing the same round they just played. So it is A, B, B, A. So Gabagool are now attacking first again. So they'll be saying, okay, what did we do wrong? And how do we make sure our attack is better this time around? And, Twice will be, have a lot more time until it is their turn to attack again. And let's not forget, if Twice win this, then they will take home all 6 points. And I think that pretty much guarantees them playoffs heading into the final week. Don't quote me on that, but like I said, it's very, very close. But with the table as it is set up, if they get 6 points, that's 1 foot in the playoffs, so maybe even 2.
Yeah, we need to break out the calculators there to actually get all the possible permutations, but that's a big carrot on the line if you're Twice, right? One more map and you've basically secured that playoff spot, and that's what everyone wants really. You want to be there at the end of the season competing for those shiny medals, If I'm Gabagool here, you absolutely need to start getting the first point a little bit better, and that's already slightly better. They've managed to coordinate a little better between Tiram and Yak, but they again dispense their armor too overpowered. Casper takes not a lick of damage, but they will start getting this cart forward through the tunnel at least.
They're pushing that cart like it is a train, like the hype train that's happening in Twitch right now. Drop some subs or some bits, get that hype train going, level 2. DJ Reflex though, pushing that cart all the way through the tunnel. Poi is there with Tiram as well. They're jumping in for the sacks. That armor from the dispenser is just too strong. Casper doesn't even take 1 HP of damage. Nobody actually dies on the side of Twice. 3 players left alive for Gabagool. It's just Assassin Broken and Yerkas lurking around, trying to go for some sneaky plays towards the spawn. BB on the lookout. But yeah, they struggled on the first point, right? Gabagool last time around, they did struggle, and it took them a solid 3 to 4 minutes to push that first point.
Assassin's already out now at this point, and again, they use incredibly early, but Delta's again just able to press the mouse 2 button, CeeJaey. He's able to deny them all off that cliff space. There's a lot of stickies at their feet, but they're detonated too early. All the players were still shiny, and they lose Yak on hill. They're not going to be able to make that repush uphill happen, and now Assassin only just gets into spawn in time. Buko had him in his sights, CeeJaey.
That's so close. Buko is, he's smelling blood in the water now. When a player starts to hit those shots, that's when you've got to worry. And it's kind of hard to pressure the sniper on this map. Axio trying to do it onto Broken, who does get the headshot onto Odin. Maybe going to be a bit of an opening here. No Brass Beast Heavy to worry about on that high ground. And look, is Gabagool pushing. Dealt with the reflex. The pipe reflex takes down Vanu. A lot of players going down, and not a single person dying on the side of Twice, other than that opening pick, Gamma, that Broken got onto Odin. This kind of sack wave, this group pressure coming from Gabagool isn't actually achieving anything. The teleport is still up, the sentry's still up, there's still an Uber in the hands of Casper. They're not really gaining anything. They need to maybe change the control, and they're going for a trade.
They're going for the trade. They managed to use a little bit later down the cliff, but Assassin is just getting some air miles at the moment. Not really able to get anything with this Uber. Rambo has managed to save this sentry from certain destruction about 4 times already this round. 1:40 left on the timer. Again, they're down so many players. They like to try and get this hill pressure after an Uber exchange. It's a very classic thing to do, but their health really isn't there for it. They're managing to get some pressure on now onto Odin. He gets an arrow at the perfect time, his second arrow as Tyram was bombing him, but now the kills coming in for Broken, absolutely popping off. That's 3 in a row for Broken now. The sentry's going to go down. Casper is not going to get out. That is exactly the momentum that they're going to need.
Yeah, this is all going to be all the way onto second. Now, sometimes I always talk about the best teams in Highlander. You need to have that chemistry, you need to have that synergy, but you also need players to step up to the plate and pull off the big moments. And Broken getting, 3 or 4 kills there in the space of a few seconds just really opened them up. Like, just unlocked the door for his team to walk through. And look how aggressive Yak is now. Yak and Vlad are there with the heals on Assassin. Tyram already on the high ground on third. They do not want Twice to get set up here. They have an Uber advantage. Twice, if they get aggressive here, they can get Ubered on and it could all be over. So they have to be careful. GABAGOOL just do not want them to get set up. It's going to have to be a passive hold, if anything, from Twice. But look, Poise down there as well. And so he's Broken. He gets Ramdasaur. That's NG down. That sentry is just going to be plucked away. Surely it's a level 2 right now. Gets taken down very, very easily. Del, Sammy and Rambo all going down. BB gets cleaned up by Vanu. And this third point might also go down, Gamma.
I love this aggression coming out from GABAGOOL. It was so well placed. Getting onto that third point, knowing that they had the Uber advantage, knowing that they had the players behind, watching that second spawn, just in case they did manage to try something cheeky, and they're rolling it again here too. Now they didn't get Casper, that's the only thing. Casper will have this Uber out. They're actually going into the back stairs here to try and protect him, but they're so aggressive already, or GABAGOOL. They're really trying to find, where is that medic? Use your Uber charge, man, we're in your house. But they've managed to withhold for now. They've got a huge amount of damage onto Yak. They're trying to get Yerknes in. He's been found by Delt, unfortunately, so they are going to have to slow things down a little bit. But man, that was some really good action for those 3 points.
It's that key word, right, that we said at the start of the stream, momentum. We see the Uber coming in from Yak. He wants to keep that momentum going. He does not want Twice to sit down and set up. Delt gets removed by Broken, who's absolutely popping off on this second round, and with no pyro, there's not really any area control. It's all going to be down to Sammy to make sure no one walks in for free, but that sentry and that brass beast will take down Yak. Maybe that's going to put a bit of a plug in that hole, because so far it's just been GABAGOOL flowing through point to point, and Twice have just been a bit shell-shocked really after that first point, which they were holding so well. It's just kind of been backs to the wall and backing up constantly. Broken finally goes down to Axio. So that is going to be no headshots from him for the time being, but Twice held last pretty well, in the previous round. They're going to have to do the same if they're going to want to be a time that they're happy with.
I think Yak was just kind of like, you know what, we can actually, with the player advantage we have, we can just re-push through this choke. And Odin just levitated him into a wall with that brass beast. It was absolutely disgusting. It's just not something you play against every day. It's not something you can easily counter. But they are regrouping here. They do have a slight disadvantage because of how well Casper's been building. They actually managed to get the force off. The sack wave finally does work out, but they lose Assassin in the background. Axio manages to kill the man when his protective detail have gone to kill themselves. And man, that's gotta feel bad if you're GABAGOOL. Everything going so well, and once more, it's this last point that's a problem.
Yeah, it's that age-old thing on payload. If you're going to be sacking players forward, if you're going to be trying to get the force out of the enemy medic, you need to have your medic safe and sound. And that seems to have been a problem for both sides on the attack so far this game. Vanu just getting pinned by the sentry and cleaned up by BB. And you know what, time's ticking on now. This is starting to head towards, a more respectable time in the minds of Twice, shall we say. And GABAGOOL, like you said in the previous round, Gamma, you have those moments where you push and you fail and you get somebody picked off. You see Tyram goes down, now Broken's gone down. It's just those little players one by one getting picked off that you don't really have that full complement of 9 ready to go in and do something coordinated. And GABAGOOL need to kind of stem that rot for a moment and just regroup and go in and have some sort of plan. It is equal Ubers now. What's the plan? Are they sacking? Are they exchanging? It looks like they're positioning towards choke.
They're trying to get set up. That's good. They've got Buko immediately. This means they can be a little bit more aggressive here. Reflex is taking that to another level. Just kind of walking in to be the preemptive scout for the supercharge that's going out. There's a lot of flashing coming out from Twice here, but they haven't been able to take damage. That's some good denial. Odin had a little flash there for a second, but now he's being shot by everyone, and now it's really just a sentry left alive. Gonna go down. Delt and Sammy and Casper, the only ones left alive. They've got a wild Buko joining them now. Can he save them from this one? Broken has already removed Delt, so I'm not so sure. It's just Casper and Buko, but even they will go down. This is going to roll now, but there's a big spawn wave. Can they collapse onto this cart?
Yeah, the spawn wave's coming from the low ground though, and you know what? A little bit of RNG on this map. Having the majority of their respawns coming on the low ground just meant they weren't able to really fight that last point towards the end there, but it may not have mattered in the end. 8 minutes and 8 seconds for GABAGOOL, faster than the time that Twice did in the previous round, and definitely faster than GABAGOOL's previous attempt where they didn't actually cap last in the end. So they'll be feeling maybe happier than they were, but with the momentum they had after their first 3 points, that last point just seemed to be a bit of a sticking point again.
It really did. It just every time they tried to get something positive, every time they tried to take a little bit of ground or get a sack in, just something went wrong in the background. Whether it was they lost their flank, whether it was they lost their medic, whether it was they lost their sniper. Every so often, just something would go wrong and it would just fall apart at the seams. But that last push, everything just clicked. They got the kills, they got the space, they kept their players alive. And that's all you need. All you need is that one push to go perfectly. You just kind of hope it would happen a little bit quicker, but even still, 8 minutes, considering the times that these teams have been defending against each other with, 8 minutes is perfectly respectable.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I'm noticing is the difference in the dispenser placement from GABAGOOL compared to Twice. Reflex has put his sentry up against the wall, whereas Rambo had his closer to the large ammo pack, and that made it more awkward for spam to come in from tunnel, but easier for... I'm just trying to see whether that has much of a difference. And like I said, the dispenser goes down very, very early on. Assassin does not force, doesn't take any damage, but that dispenser armor for him is now gone and out of the equation. So just a small difference between the teams there, just a different slight change in strategy, may not make much of a difference at all, but no casualties for GABAGOOL, so they can just sit there with their level 3 sentry and their full 9 players to wait to see what Twice have got to throw at them next.
Yak is actually taking a huge amount of damage before the sack even comes in. Assassin taking a look around to see where that last rocket might have come from that might have forced him, but does manage to hold on to that Uber in the meantime, and Yak indeed stays alive as well. But crucially, they have managed to make Reflex pull that awkward sentry back. So now it's going to be in a different position if they do try and sack again, but again, that dispenser armor in a bit of a suboptimal position, I would say, if that's what they want to use it for, but it is kind of a little bit better getting ammo to the rest of your team. The supercharge used by Sammy onto the low ground, getting a little bit denied there. Good work from Vlad to push them back down to the low ground. They're not really going to get anything important here, and Casper indeed is actually going to go down. The sentry's still alive, Reflex still alive, healing it. They get some good cap time. They're not really going to be able to get anything else, and most people are now indeed dead for what, Twice.
Yak absolutely crushes them there, just throwing stickies on the ground. That was similar to the strat Twice used in the first round, where they kind of Ubered in from tunnel, but they didn't get Reflex, they didn't get the sentry, and when the force came in, they didn't wait in tunnel, they just kind of pushed out onto the cart, ready for the taking. So not looking too good for Twice already. This first point seems to be a bit of an enigma for both teams to crack. They're not really getting anything done, but that sentry has gone down though early on. Axia running the enforcer gets it down. The cart is now being swarmed by players, and that first point will go down. We've got a bit of a sandwich situation going on. Players from both sides. You're going to see Assassin go down there. It's only going to be Vanu and Reflex. In fact, Vanu is going to burn to death. It's just Reflex who teleported away with that Eureka effect, maybe hoping to get some sort of hold on third, but with no players to accompany him. A few still in the spawn queue. Look at Twice. They're already getting to... They just want to hold this third point. They don't have as big of an advantage though, Gamma, as GABAGOOL had when they were doing this. They had 100% ads, so GABAGOOL can actually defend this with a little bit more bravado because they know they can't be Ubered on.
It's going to be a little bit difficult though. That choke point is such a low ceiling, it's quite difficult to get aggression through without getting stuffed by a demo man. And, you know, a brass beast heavy for what it's worth. And Buko getting broken, that's huge. It's going to make it difficult to walk through. They're going to try though. Here comes the aggression. They're going to get absolutely stuffed by Sammy and co. That is huge. Tyran though managing to get a nice kill on the Buko on the side. And indeed, will get Casper. They're actually still going to salvage something out of this, and that's going to be an assassin uber charge, but they're going to be way back on last with 5 minutes to defend almost.
It was like a meat grinder, wasn't it? They just ran in there. There's stickies, there's a brass beast, there was a lot going on. Buko was popping some heads, but Tyran kind of, again, like I said, synergy and chemistry is one thing, but if you have the big players who are capable of the big plays, that was a big play that needed to happen, because otherwise they were coming in with an Uber and a big player advantage. As it is, Poise the only real casualty right now for the defense. But no, Odin dropping out from the window, gets the sentry, gets Vlad, dies for it, but will probably be happy to trade that. No pyro, no heavy, no sentry, and maybe Twice can maneuver themselves here to get a bit of space. They have lost a few players themselves, so just kind of playing this carefully. And in fact, it's Vanu and Yak who are trying to get aggressive. And there we go, Delt and Sammy both going down. And Twice, they've just got under 4 minutes to play with here. That's going to seem like an eternity for GABAGOOL, and it's going to seem like no time at all for Twice.
Exactly. It's that time just tickling in the back of your head. Thinking, oh my god, all the time, anytime any aggression comes in, it's going to be very difficult. And that demo man and scout class from Yak and Varnu just pushing them back through that choke point earlier. The overcharge comes down out of the window and Sammy goes away into space. Casper absolutely denied into the corner. I'd be killed by him right now. He is absolutely destroyed. That Uber was stuffed.
Yeah, I mean, Sammy just got blasted away. And Casper was just bullied in the corner there. It was rough to watch, but you know what? That's a fair push, and we hit the 3 minute mark. And now this is where GABAGOOL, you know, like you said, they're under pressure. One mistake from them can cause them, and that headshot from Buko onto Yak, 23-second respawn for the demo man is pretty huge. Broken is going to get the kill onto Buko, but Poi also goes down. Big bomb in from Honjo, manages to take down Reflex, manages to take down Broken. They're just flooding into the choke now.
Oh, Honjo, that was absolutely unbelievable. The aggression coming through on the demo death, knowing you can't be denied, getting all those important kills, the engineer, the sniper, Yurka's trying to decloak on point to do anything to slow it, but it's absolutely just destroyed now. It's basically just Yak. Look at this positioning from Odin as well, around the corner, ready to deny them as soon as they come in. They are going to try and slow this as best as they possibly can, but they're just bleeding players. They're not going to be able to stop this, and that is a game win for Twice.
It is going to be 2-0 for Twice. They take home the full 6 points, and that is going to bolster their position somewhat. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to do maths in my head, and it's been a few years, Gamma, but I think they may be guaranteed playoffs now, and GABAGOOL are going to have to really do something on their last game and hope results go their way. But it was a very close game on Badwater. But like I said, more action on KritzKast tomorrow, and we'll be bringing you some more games in week 5. Of course, follow us all on the social media, Twitter, join Discord. You can support the channel. All of the money that you give towards the channel via subs or merch goes towards paying the casters and producers for their time. Of course, it is September, so you do get cheaper subs during this month. So maybe if you're thinking about dropping a sub on Twitch, maybe think about KritzKast the next time you've got some spare change in your pocket. I've been CeeJaey, joined by Gamma and Wiethoofd on production, and we'll see you next time.